Hello, I'm Jackie Taylor from Agritourism Africa, and today's podcast I'm going to be speaking about how you establish an agritourism route. Agritourism routes really started in Europe, and if you want to find case studies, you can find case studies in Australia, Italy, Canada, America. There's no shortage of case studies out there. And how agritourism routes and why they were started is really based on how a route was chosen to market an emerging destination. So in other words, a destination that was not really well known by visitors or tour operators. And that's really agritourism in South Africa. It's a new marketing concept, not a new product concept. So if we have a look at agricultural-based tourism, agritourism, it includes everything in a rural agricultural area. So that's wine tourism, wildlife tourism, ecotourism, cultural tourism, adventure tourism, and so on. So it's fairly broad, but where I would start if you do want to have an agritourism route, you've got to start at the beginning. Get out a pen and paper, have a look around you, 360-degree view, and see what's currently on offer in your area. So do an audit. Then once you've done the audit, do a bit of research as to what visitors actually want. And you know, when you talk about rural areas, that's normally within an hour's drive from a city in South Africa. And why are we talking routes? Because we're trying to not only market destinations, but we're trying to get people to stay for longer periods of time and spend more money. So once you've got your head around that, which is fairly obvious, I would then narrow down my list to unique. What is unique about the various property services that you've got in your area? So for example, in wine tourism, the problem there really is become a bit jaded, because if you don't drink wine, then you're not going to go on a wine tourism route. But if you actually embrace the agritourism concept, then you're not just focusing on wine. There are a number of different things that you can do in a rural community. I don't need to tell you that. One of the challenges with route development is how you maintain the customer guest experience. So that's the quality of the service. You can't have one person offering a service which is really basic next to another destination that's 5-star plus, and then put them in the same agritourism route. And the only reason I would not suggest that is because you do not want to disappoint your visitors. They have expectations, but also to market and to communicate that experience is going to be problematic if you have a whole different type of visitor in your area. So it needs some thought, and obviously it needs a business plan. It needs a strategic marketing plan, action plans, communication plans, and it's best to always do this around certain themes. So I would encourage events, or look at what happens in a calendar year on your farm and use that as a basis. I would also recommend you start small. See what works and what doesn't work. Be open-minded and speak to your customers. Always with visitors, get feedback. That's one thing in South Africa we are not very good at. And it's not a personal judgment. It is just actually beneficial because you want to actually improve the experience. You don't want someone going home to wherever their home is and saying, you know, I had the most dreadful weekend at blah, blah, blah's farm, and spreading the word of a disappointing product, service, weekend, whatever. So it is important then to collate that information that you get from visitors, customers, from those participating in the route. That will provide the feedback you need, and you really need to have feedback regularly with agritourism routes. I would suggest at least once a month. And that will also make it possible for changes or adaptations or amendments to be done to your marketing plan. Marketing plans are fluid. They're not concrete based plans. And that's where I think agritourism route development in South Africa has great potential. I also would encourage any agritourism route development to come up with an identifiable brand. And yes, if you are a member of Agritourism South Africa or Agritourism Africa, you can use the Agritourism logo to put on your route. So if you've got, for example, a fruit route you've identified, but you want to actually include some other adventure type activities or something that will appeal to a broader market, then developing an agritourism brand includes signage and having a commonality like an agritourism logo will make visitors and tourists feel far more confident. And I think also remember, agritourism routes, there are no hard and fast rules. These are suggestions, but I definitely think they're the way forward, because in terms of affordability, from a marketing perspective and from a communication perspective, the whole is always greater than the sum of the parts. So let's have a look at agritourism routes as an area for rural development within Africa. And yes, please do feel free to ask any of us questions, but the way forward in 2021, I believe, is agritourism route development. Thank you so much.